me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
There's two big skills. Your writing skills. You need to be able to express your thoughts and respond to those questions by the grantors in writing. And number two is relationship building. That is a must for anything that you do. Building relationships with the program managers at the funding agencies is so critical. Over time, the community, we built a trust with the community. So they come to us for a variety of questions, like even if it's a non-recreation related, and we're able to point them in the right direction. And so they trust us with that. One thing we've been doing at our community centers is allowing wraparound service providers in the community to come and have space in our community centers to offer wraparound services to families.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show. Today we're taking you to Linwood, California, a vibrant community where parks, recreation, and public services bring people together in inspiring ways. Nestled in the heart of Southern California, Linwood is more than just a city. It's a hub where families, outdoor enthusiasts, and community leaders come together to create thriving public spaces. From award-winning parks to exciting local events and essential public programs, Linwood is a shining example of what parks and recreation can do for a community. What's in store for today's episode? Community events like cultural festivals and outdoor movie nights, top-tier recreational facilities, including an Olympic-size indoor pool, playgrounds, Bateman Hall, and a state-of-the-art sports complex, essential public services from youth sports to senior programs, and everything in between. Plus, we're sitting down with Mark Flores, Director of Recreation and Community Services in Linwood. He'll give us an inside look at how Parks and Recreation is making a real impact in the community. So whether you're a Parks and Rec professional, a community advocate, or just love seeing cities thrive, this episode is for you. Let's dive in.
All right. Okay, we are live here again. Craig LeBlanc, the doorman with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, Monday through Friday, 12 noon Eastern. Here with a special guest, Mark Flores, Director of Recreation and Community Services over in Linwood, California. He is one of the Parks and Rec directors that has been here for a very long time, as far as he grew up in Parks and Rec. And I love these stories because a lot of times what men like Mark do finds its roots back to their childhood. So talk about having a strong why to continue to provide services and facilities similar to what he experienced as a child, which just gives him a really strong reason to keep doing what he's doing, invest in his cities, invest in his communities. And usually it's just ends up being a powerhouse leader when you believe in something all the way to your core, like Mark does, when you can trace your roots back to when you were a kid.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, Mark. How are you doing over there?
Pleasure to be here. I'm excited about our conversation today. Things are going great here in Linwood.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, why don't you take us back a little bit to, you called yourself a little park rat, which is what a lot of us just grew up in it. So let's talk about those days. How were you involved in the parks as a youngster?
It traces back to my parents. My parents were always about keeping us busy, whether it was school or athletics. And like you said, I was a park rat. Back in those days, we didn't have the specialization. And we can have a whole hour conversation about that. But we went from soccer to baseball to basketball to football, season after season. It was nonstop. And once you start reaching 13, 14, 15 years old, you start aging out of the recreational programs, and because the opportunities are now at the high school and middle school levels, right? That's where the transition is. However, at that point in time, My friends were all in the park, and I spent a lot of time in the park, and so that transitioned into scorekeeping, refereeing, umpiring at 13, 14, 15 years old. And, I was making like $10 an hour, just hanging
Mhm.
out with my friends, right? And when you're that age, that you feel like a millionaire making that kind of money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I became 16, I was offered a part-time job along with my friends and my brother, and so it was a great deal for us, right? We were going to be in the park anyway, and you're telling me we're going to get paid for it? Well, wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so
I
that
can't
was the start.
getting paid $10 an hour to keep
Yeah,
score in the
yeah,
press box. It's almost like,
yeah,
you would even pay to do that,
right.
and they're gonna pay you to do this job?
Right, right.
Um, and so what are the other kinda opportunities that kids even have today to
Yeah.
be able to work as a high schooler inside park systems? Can you kinda roll through a few of those so that our high school and even our parents can listen to how they can involve their kids even in the older ages?
Yeah, absolutely. In our area in the last 15 years or so, we kind of went away from that. In the industry, we're offering these opportunities at a very young age.
Mhm.
For a variety of reasons. But now we're making a conscious effort to bring that back and offering these opportunities to the 14, 15, 16-year olds for scorekeeping and umpiring and refereeing, so that they can transition when they get to high school into a part-time job with us.
Mhm.
So that's been a big focal point for us these last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, thank y'all so much for bringing that back
Mhm.
because, really um, high school jobs, typically your Parks and Rec system are the largest employer of high schoolers, and in many cases, it's your first job ever. That was my case. My
Yeah.
first job ever was with the park system, when I was, like, 15, cutting grass.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that was my first experience with the workforce. And, what are some of the things that the kids are gonna learn? Maybe look back to what you learned in your high school days as Parks and Rec.
Number one, dealing with people. I encourage a working a day camp for anybody. The transitions and the experiences you get in one summer,
Mhm.
seeing the children that you spend 6 to 8 weeks with in the summer, and how I've seen the shyest kids become leaders over the course of one summer, and that's a result of these young people working with them, right?
Mhm.
And the impact that they have on people's lives is a strong selling point for this. And then eventually, if this is not for you, you learn the critical skills of time management, dealing with all types of people, young, old, different races, different
Mhm.
interests, and that's such a critical skill today.
Yeah, until you've been put in charge of a group of, 5th graders or 6th graders and trying to keep them in
Yeah,
line and keep them going,
yeah,
you really haven't lived. That's such a great, life skill to
yeah.
have. Um, yeah, definitely encourage that. So, let's go into how did you kinda come back into you had a quite a long career outside of Parks and Rec, but still
Yes.
kinda worked with Parks and Rec, but tell us about, what that was.
So when I graduated from high school, I stayed as a part-time employee, just working on the weekends as I put myself through college. When college was over, I really thought I was going to go into marketing. My vision at that time was producing commercials for corporations,
Mm,
but it just wasn't hitting. I wasn't getting the right opportunity, but I still had this part-time job. And when I graduated from college, the department director at the time, they were struggling getting funding for a new youth center. And so he just shows up on a weekend and he says, "Hey," he throws the packet at me on my desk and he says, "Hey, give this a shot." I didn't know what it was. I just started looking through it, and coming from a marketing background, I started reading through it, and I said to myself, I think I could do this. So I wrote the grant and got a $3 million grant to do a new youth center. And
wow.
and then right after that, they gave me another opportunity to do a complete renovation of our largest city park here in town, and I was also successful in getting that. So I was two for two right out the gate. So
Wow.
then that's when the wheels started turning. Hey, maybe I could do this. Maybe this is for me, right? I was still in the same environment, being in the park. My friends were still working here. So that's when the interest peaked at that. Hey, maybe this is my career.
Mhm. And so you were somewhat of a consultant for park systems that needed help with grant writing, and you did this for what, a decade, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So word got out that I was a good grant writer, and so nonprofits started reaching out to me, and I started writing grants for nonprofits in the Los Angeles area, and that developed into organizational consulting, helping boards organize themselves and put in the right structures for them. And I did that. And I was doing very well. The part-time job at the park, along with my consulting, I didn't have a need for a full-time job. But then
Right.
after 10, 12 years or so, it just wasn't for me. My heart wasn't in it. I was good at it, but my heart just wasn't in it. That's not what I
Mhm.
wanted to do. I hate wearing suits. Not, I hate wearing ties. I
Ah,
hate going to board meetings. Yeah. And it just wasn't for me. And when I was hitting that crossroads, an opportunity came up here in where my part-time job was for a full-time job, and I applied and earned it, and then my career changed to a full-time
mhm.
recreation professional.
Now, looking back, especially with what you're doing today as a director of a park system, do you recommend that if you don't know a lot about grant writing, that you work with someone similar to what you did, or that you go at it alone, or let's say someone is a park and rec director looking to get some type of grant exposure.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation on that?
Number one, well, there's two big skills. Your writing skills. You need to be able to express your thoughts and respond to those questions by the grantors in writing. And number two is relationship building. That is a must for anything that you do. Building relationships with the program managers at the funding agencies is so critical. They'll give you the insight because it could be a X opportunity, and that can change from year to year from the same agency. Even if it's park specific. One year it could be for athletic fields, one year it could be for open spaces, and you need those insights.
Mhm.
And the way you do that is build relationships with the program managers at the funding agencies, whether they're private foundations or county or state agencies. That's a very critical skill
Mhm.
to have, is building those relationships.
Now, typically, how is the third party compensated? Is it a percentage of the money they get for you? Is it a flat rate? Is it an hourly rate, or all the above? Or what are
Uh,
they typically looking at?
it's a combination. It really depends on case by case basis. It's been a percent. It's been a flat fee. Usually it's best to have a flat fee
Mhm.
for your time that you put into developing a proposal. But it really on a case by case basis. It
Yeah.
depends on the agency that you're working with.
Yeah, so I can imagine, shifting from that, you probably just missed working with the people and having an impact, and
Yeah.
is kind of what did pull you into or back into the industry? Was it that, or
It was it was that my heart wasn't in grant writing and organizational development consulting. It just
Mhm.
wasn't. That just wasn't me. I want to talk to different people every day. I don't want to wear a suit to the office. It was a combination of all that, and then the opportunity, right? I'm a strong believer in having in keeping your opportunities open and have a large table for your opportunities. So, when times are tough or when you're just not feeling something anymore, you have an avenue to go to, and you're not starting from scratch.
Mhm. Yeah, and so just to, give people some idea
Mhm.
of his agency, he's got 140 full-time employees, 13 parks, $5.5 million operating budget, $15 million capital improvement, I think, on average year on year.
Yes.
Um, and here's a question that I've just now started
Yeah.
to ask. So you probably don't have this numbers, but if you had to just give a rough guess, if you just threw up everything you're over up for sale, or had to repurchase it all, Any guess as to what it would be, what the market price of your facilities, the land, the improvements, the playgrounds, the all added together? I've got a rough idea of a national average.
Yeah, you're probably looking at you're probably looking at you're probably pushing $100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that would be semi low, because I've
Mhm.
seen other people that have dug into this number.
Yeah.
And the reason I want to highlight that you're probably managing a $1 to $200 million real estate
Mhm.
portfolio with 140 full-time employees and a $5 million operating budget is to just help people understand the scale of what the park system does,
Yeah.
and and the sheer amount of money moving and it took
Yeah.
to gather these assets many times over
Yeah.
decades or 100 years.
Yeah.
Um, so to provide this quality of life for the community, it's not a cheap endeavor.
It's not, and not even, and even more simple than cost is we don't close. We essentially open 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
Any emergency, our facilities have served as emergency shelters at 2 in the morning, right? There's a apartment fire, down the block, and there's 100 people displaced. Our facilities have been used for emergency shelters at any given moment. We're open 7 days a week, 16, 17 hours a day, year round. During COVID, we did not shut down one day, not
Wow.
one day. We
Yeah.
kept going.
And then typically during holidays when everyone else is spending time with their families, that's actually when you have a lot of your special events that you've got to be, working
I,
overtime.
I like to tell people there was a period of maybe 25 consecutive years where I did not have July 4th off.
Wow.
And in this was in 2012. For budget reasons, we did not have our July Independence Day celebration.
Mm.
And I'll never forget that day where I woke up early, with mentally preparing for a big festival that day, and we didn't have anywhere to go that day. And my first thought was, what do people do on July 4th?
Attend the festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is. It's you're constantly giving back, and
Yeah,
so giving back to your community is something that, maybe inspires you to have more than just a paycheck.
certainly.
Then this is definitely the industry, for you. Um, all right, so let's move on to, what's it like as far as is Linwood, California? Like, describe to us, your community.
You got it. And one bonus that I have, or one advantage I have, is I'm a resident.
Mhm.
I've lived in this community for about 40 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm a user of our own programs.
Love it.
I'm in the basketball leagues and the co-ed softball leagues, and so I think that gives me an advantage in delivering programming that meets the needs of our community, and just keeping finger on the pulse of what's going on in town. Right. I always joke that I literally have to sneak out of my house because a neighbor for sure will catch me outside with some issue about a parking ticket or a question about housing or rent control, and they'll make me late to the office. Right.
Mhm.
So I literally got to sneak out of the house. So, but Linwood has had a challenging history. When I first started here, there was a lot of gang activity. The 1990s were full of a lot of gang activity in the parks. When I first started, I was assigned to a park where it was just me and a bunch of gang members. There was no programs, no anything like that, right?
Oh, wow.
I'm 16, 17 years old, and I'm not thinking about consequences or dangers. I'm just hired to do a job, and that's what I'm going to do, right? But over time, the community pulled together, from the elected officials down to the community-based organizations, and we've turned it around. In 2010, our community was awarded the All-America City Award for two reasons. Number one is its drastic decline in violence in the town, and for its high-quality parks programs. And
Mhm.
so in 2010, We were the only community here in Southern California to receive that national recognition.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very proud of that. I was part of that team that delivered the proposal and presentations out in Kansas City and earned that for our town. Last year, the last 5 or 6 years, the city has really invested in its park facilities, and it resulted last year. There's 88 cities in Los Angeles County, California.
Mhm.
Only 2 communities had higher increases in property values than our city.
Wow.
So that
The idiot.
that's the impact of the parks, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, he sits literally on the doorstep of one of our great cities in America, Los Angeles.
Yes.
And so it's almost like if LA has a problem, all these other little cities feel it.
Yes.
If they have a great booming economy, if they're having a homeless issue, if they're having a terrible economy or just the opposite, it's hard to not be impacted, I imagine. So what's it like living on side of this is what, a $13 million person metropolitan area, I believe.
Yeah,
Or something around that.
absolutely. I only see the positive of it.
Yeah.
Tons of resources,
I bet.
across the board. If you don't have something, it's because you're not looking.
That's right.
The resources are here, right? Whether it's corporate sponsors, private sponsors, partnerships with national organizations, or even LA based organizations, it's all there for you. You just got to go and make your pitch.
Yeah. And if you watch the news cycle too much, you'd think LA is just on fire and crime everywhere. Like, give us some good news, boots on the ground. What are you seeing both in your city and just in and around the LA area?
Oh yeah, Los Angeles is an amazing place, full of resources, wonderful people, and great options for families. Our best example is our partnership with the Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation. It took us 2 years to make our pitch to them to sponsor our youth baseball and softball program. So we, the market rate for a youth baseball softball program in our area here is $250, $300 a season, and which is pretty unaccessible for most families, especially if you have multiple children, right? For a better quality program, we offer it for $15 to our community. 15. And the Dodgers help us with the league expenses, from materials to umpiring to uniforms and gloves and shoes, and then just the association with the Major League Baseball club, right? They have experiences at Dodger Stadium. They get exposed to Dodger players. Yeah, it's an amazing partnership, and the Dodgers Foundation is doing amazing work. And that's just one example, right? There's examples across all of Los Angeles of corporations and nonprofits working together to improve our communities here.
Yeah. And LA really, Southern California is one of the greatest economies on earth. I think if Southern California were a country, it would rank number 6 in GDP.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if LA was a country, it's, I think, in the top 20.
Yeah.
So like you said, if your city is struggling, I guess, for grants or sponsorship or whatever, you just almost not looking.
Right. Absolutely. And it's great about my background, marketing, I was able to apply to what I do, because anywhere, marketing essentially is studying why people make decisions, why people decide to buy, this shirt over that shirt. And that's very applicable to what I do every day. I'm selling every day. I'm selling my budget. I'm selling my programs. I'm selling opportunities for sponsorships. I'm doing that every day.
Yeah, well, let's stay on that topic a little. Let's double click on that. Let's say more about, you're a director of Parks and Rec with a background in marketing. How can you help other Parks and Rec directors that don't have a background in marketing to think more like you? What are some hints that we can give them there?
Just studying why people make decisions, right? Why they're buying hot coffee versus iced coffee. There's a rhyme and reason people do things every day, and it's just digging into that and using that to your advantage. Why a particular, one thing that we're going through right now is pickleball. Pickleball is huge across the country. Is not hitting in our community, and what is the reason for that, right? And so we started looking into that and offering options, indoors, outdoors, youth, professional adults, seniors, and it just hasn't clicked. And we got together with the USTA and we started a red ball program, which is a competitor to pickleball. It's what the USTA is pushing, and that's taking off here in our community because it's more like tennis. It's with the lower compression ball, and because it's more like tennis, I think that's a big reason people are liking that over pickleball in our local area. But that's just one example. Get into the why people like one thing over another.
I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's say you are now transported to a small town in somewhere USA,
Yes.
and they have long-standing special events, but they're having a challenging time getting people to attend it. They're having a hard time getting the word out. What are some of the first steps you would take in a community with those issues?
Uh, n- two first steps, right? What happened last year, and what were the pluses and the minuses of what we did last year, and also a more recent survey. Hey, we're offering X festival. What is it that you guys want to see, and start from there.
Uh,
To develop a solution, because at the end of the day, you have to think, is this something that we want to keep offering, right? Or do we need to change it?
yeah.
Because what we're doing now is not working.
And so you've run some of these surveys to do just that in your community?
Yeah, absolutely. We have surveys on the spot. At every festival or special event that we do, we have a department booth where we use it to not only distribute information but interact with our public. Right? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What needs to be improved? What's new that you would like to see?
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
Yeah. And
Okay,
so
so
we definitely take advantage of our events range from 500 to 10,000 people.
mhm.
And definitely we use that to our advantage, having these built-in crowds and access to our residents, where we're dealing with them on the spot. We're having real conversations with them. I'm really not big on online surveys. They can be, they can be twisted to a certain way, right? But we definitely use those, but only to augment other information that we get usually in person.
Oh, I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, so so you'd recommend the in-person, and so if you have a festival of some sort,
Mhm.
some special event, and you're
Yes.
selling booths to vendors or, food vendors or,
Mhm.
crafts vendors, you have one among them, is what you're saying, and then who's manning that booth and kinda what's the pep talk you're giving? What are you trying to accomplish at so the city has its own booth inside these. Is it like a
Yes.
registration table, or is it just more information table, and that's where the,
Yeah,
um
it's a recreation table. With a full logo set up so that people know it's us, right?
Mhm,
And over time, the community, we've built a trust with the community.
mm,
And so they come to us for a variety of questions, like even if it's a non-recreation related
mhm,
question, and we're able to point them in the right direction, and so they trust us with that.
mm,
One thing we've been doing at our community centers is allowing wraparound service providers in the community to come and have space in our community centers to offer wraparound services to families, because we know that's very much needed. And you're talking about
what's that?
families. Wraparound services are essentially nonprofit family service organizations
Mm,
and it's called wraparound because they offer a variety of services to help families, whether you need tutoring or discipline assistance with your child, ranging to immigration issues or school issues, housing issues. These services, I'm sorry, these nonprofit or agencies provide that type of information to the public, and because they're housed in one of our facilities, there's more trust there, right?
mm,
You'd be surprised the questions we get out when we're out on the field at a baseball game, just talking to parents. They ask us a lot of questions that are not recreation related. Hey, I'm
mhm,
having trouble with my child. They're misguided. They're hanging out with the wrong people. I need some help.
mm,
And because there's so much of that, we took the approach of we're not the professionals in the area, so we work very closely with our school district. We're very fortunate we have our own school district, right? I like to say our community is like the Goldilocks. We're not too big, we're not too small, we're just right. We're not too small where we don't have a lot of resources. We're not too large where we have a lot of bureaucracy. We're right in the middle, and we can be very agile. And we have great relationships with our community hospital, our sheriff's department, our school district. And we need any type of assistance or need to get information out quickly to the community, we can do that.
Yeah.
And so we understand that our community centers aren't true community centers unless we are offering these types of services in our buildings.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like you to talk a little bit more about this partnership with nonprofits, because New Orleans obviously had a homelessness issue, and then also a housing issue.
Mhm.
And I know, rather than trying to become experts in homelessness and housing, they went and sought after nonprofits, that this is what their whole mission was around. Everybody in that nonprofit was like on board to help with the homelessness issue. There was a total another nonprofit to deal with housing, and they just chose to partner and give them, like you said, an office. Here's our population. What can we do to help you do what you do? So
Right.
number one, we don't have to do it, and trying to gain the expertise around that. So it sounds like y'all have similar partnerships that you work with nonprofit organizations.
That's exactly the why we do that. Uh, it's funny, everything's pre and post COVID, right? Pre-COVID, we knew that this need was there. However, our space was limited with our own programming, right? So although we were providing wraparound type services in our facilities, it was limited because our inventory of programs it was so full. However, COVID happened, and you mentioned the layoffs that my department experienced, and how are we going to deliver services with 9 people at this level, right? And so that became that resulted in the need to partner with the experts that we didn't have in the house anymore. And who were we going to partner with to deliver these critical basic services to the community? So that kind of sped up our approach to partnering. But even then, that was a little challenging, because you want to, at the end of the day, the expectation to deliver a high level of services is still there from the public, right? And we couldn't just partner with anybody. So we had to sit down and talk with these groups and come to an agreement on the parameters of their service and the expectations of their service, because at the end of the day, they were going to be representing us.
Yeah. Let me give a little analogy. My son is a concert cellist, and he sounded terrible for the first year, probably for the first couple of years. But I remember at some point, because his bedroom was next to mine, he turned into like angelic sounds coming out of there. And a lot of times when we see a city handling an issue like homelessness well, you're looking at someone that has a certain degree of mastery around a topic. And much like cello or anything else, sometimes it's just a train wreck until you reach a certain degree of mastery. And so trying to make this one of somebody's hat that they wear inside your agency is almost a disaster, because you're never really giving them the time that it takes to master some of these very complex subjects that nonprofits, literally everybody in their staff has dedicated their life to whatever nonprofits their focus is. So maybe you can speak on that a little bit. Try not to be the master of everything, but just be the place where they do their work.
Yeah, absolutely. Homeless services are a really good example locally. What we saw just by experiencing day-to-day activities in our parks, a potential increase in homeless presence in our parks. And I'm big on forecasting, big. I spend a lot of my time forecasting what's next, what's likely to happen next. And so from before homeless became a huge news topic here in Los Angeles, we started partnering with local nonprofit organizations to deal with those issues of homelessness. And although it's not zero, in our community. It's not zero in any community. We've been able to minimize the issues around homelessness. So we don't have the encampments in the parks that other communities do, because we provide those services. Our providers are actively out there every day. I meet with them regularly. I can assure I'm able to assure the public that any homeless person in our city, unless they just got here an hour ago, have been offered services by a provider. Yeah, homeless issues are big right now in our country. Our experience has been that, and the feedback we get from the agencies that we work with is that someone is out on the street, usually because they're not ready to receive services yet, but at some point they will. So the key is keep reaching out to them,
Right.
and that's something that we focus on.
Now, what are some of the other nonprofits that you've seen work well, either inside or outside your community? And then maybe we can shift from that into some of the private relationships that make sense for y'all to partner with.
Huge right now with our partners is the arts, right? We don't have the in-house expertise to offer high-level arts programming, and we knew that need was in our community. So we partnered with local arts organizations, small community-based nonprofits, as well as the art programs at our local high school to offer programming at our facilities and open spaces. So that's been huge. We just developed a book with a local nonprofit organization that's available in all the LA County libraries now, about Linwood City Park, our flagship park in our community. And it was an amazing project. It took about 2 years to get it done. Yeah, that's just an example of what our partnerships have led to.
Now, how is a partnership structured? Basically, they're a nonprofit. They have this little mission. It's something you want to bring closer to your community, but they don't have a building and you have facilities. So what does that kind of look like?
And that's where the match is, right? Operating a nonprofit arts organization is very costly. Materials, rent for space, and we're able to provide some or most of that, right? If it's a high quality program, we enter them into a contract with us. We'll charge a very minimal fee to the public to participate, just to cover the cost of a T-shirt and have some investment on the family. A lot of our programs we offer offering programs for free sometimes it can be challenging because there's not that investment. But you charge $1 or $5, now the expectation is there from the family. They made an investment into this program for a very minimal amount, and that keeps us on our toes, and the service delivery is maintained at a high standard. But back to the question about the relationship with the arts groups. So we'll enter them into a service contract with the city that lays out the responsibilities and the expectations that we have for them as representatives of our department, and it works. It works for us.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll take a little short commercial break, and this commercial break is actually going to be for the show, which I really do. But mainly I want to do it because I know what we're going to talk about next is this massive playground, and I want to talk about maintaining it, and also I want to give a plug to this. We're launching a new show right before our 12 noon show, all on park maintenance. So if you're listening to this and you have a superintendent or like say an arborist in the group, or someone that maintains your swimming pool or splash pad or anything, help me get in touch with them so we can create really good maintenance content. So with that in mind, one of the ways we support this channel is I brought from my old industry. I used to own a manufacturing facility that sells an LED light made for parks departments and maintenance crews. So it used to be a master electrician. I designed this because I couldn't find a good light. So I built it myself with my engineering background, and it is just a little workhorse. So Chris, thank you for making this video for me. He's one of our video editors, and it just shows how you can help support this channel by just maybe giving your maintenance department a light that just won't quit. So I'll play this for 2 minutes, and then we're going to talk about this massive playground that Mark has. It's fantastic.
When you invest in our high-performance LED sports arena lights, you're not just upgrading your facilities, you're helping us illuminate the untold stories of parks and recreation communities. Every purchase directly supports the Daily Parks and Rec Show, a media platform on a mission to celebrate the heart and soul of our local parks and programs. From after-school activities to summer leagues, these spaces shape lives, and their stories deserve to be told. Why your support matters. Capturing community impact. Your contribution helps us assemble a talented team of digital artists, storytellers, and filmmakers to create compelling videos, articles, and short films that spotlight how Parks and Rec programs change lives. Sharing untold stories. From a child's first home run to lifelong friendships forged on the court, we'll document these priceless moments and share them with the world. Inspiring the next generation. By highlighting the joy, inclusivity, and opportunities found in our parks, we foster a deeper appreciation for these vital community spaces. Light up arenas, brighten futures. Your choice to install LED sports arena lights isn't just a smart investment in energy efficiency and performance, it's an investment in stories that deserve to be told. Be part of the story. Take action today. Purchase LED sports arena lights and help us shine a spotlight on the heartwarming stories that define our parks and communities. Contact us now to learn more about our products and how your support fuels the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Together, we'll shine a light on the moments that matter most.
All right. So for now, that's our funding source to keep this train rolling. And plus, I've got a couple of really good artists that I want to hire so we can expand this. I'm actually looking to put together a film crew that we can attend a lot of these state conferences, which I've already attended, and then maybe even do some highlights on exactly what we're getting ready to talk about, which is this massive $10 million playground. Tell us the history of this. What is it?
So let me rewind to the very beginning. So in 20, I have family in Georgia in the Augusta area. And so in 2016, I took a trip down there in the summer to hang out with the family. And we went to a summer concert in the park in a town of Evans, Georgia. And so when we got there, I saw that I'm a big parks nerd. Half of my phone is park pictures when I go on vacation. I'm taking pictures of signs and parks, and so it's pretty funny. Well, anyway, there in the park they have the gigantic playground. It was just beautiful. There was hundreds of kids playing, and I just had the thought, why can't we have something like that? And so as soon as I got home, I looked up the manufacturer and asked, hey, how did this project happen? I reached out to the town of Evans, Georgia, and how did you guys make this happen? And I went back in December again to visit family. And at that time, just by coincidence, my deputy director was taking a trip out in that Atlanta area. So he came down and he looked at it too. And we were both amazed at this project. And we decided that would be our goal. So we lobbied our city council, our city manager. There was a funding opportunity at multiple avenues of funding available. And so we got the city council to approve a commitment to make that project happen. In 2019, it was funded. Unfortunately, COVID hit in 2020, so that put a 3-year pause on that project. And when we came out of COVID, we really pushed that project, even to the point where I went out and got a degree in construction management from Columbia University. Yes, that's how much I believed in this project, right? Wow. And also I saw a funding opportunity window for the next 3 or 4 years from that starting point, and I knew that our public works department was also short-staffed, right? They also suffered tremendous fiscal impacts from COVID, and they weren't going to be able to push these projects. So I took it upon myself to say, hey, I'm going to make this happen. And I went out and got that training. So I knew what they were talking about in those meetings, about critical paths and cost structures and all that. And I went out and educated myself. And we opened it in November of last year. It's a $10 million playground. It's state of the art. It's all custom built. You're not going to find any of that off the shelf anywhere in the world. And we're extremely proud of it.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So, Kathleen, Chris, when y'all get a hold of this video, actually, I'll connect y'all because I want you to send some good footage so that we can really make it a part of this
Mhm.
YouTube video that we create out of this interview. So we really want to capture that playground, what it is, and I know y'all got some good footage of that thing. What has it done for y'all's community now? How long has it been in operation? And kind of
We
tell us.
just we just opened in mid-November. It's just a jewel. The plan was for it to be a destination point for the area, and that's what's happening. We're getting people from all over Orange County, all the way to from Santa Monica, which is 45-minute drive, and people are coming out. Right now, the Lincoln Lawyer is scheduled to film at the location, and my office here. We're also working with the movie production company to discuss potentially filming. The big impact is the shining a positive light on our community. Earlier in our discussion, I talked about the early struggles of when I started my career and what the community was like at the time. And I really take every opportunity I can to let people know that Linwood is an amazing place to live, work, and play now.
Yeah. Yeah. And these playgrounds, let me tell you, they are just amazing. And I don't think I've ever been on one at quite this scale, but to see how the moms get their kids out, they connect with each other. I can tell you, as one of these hyperactive kids that hated staying in a desk, this was heaven for me.
Yeah.
To see one of those.
Yeah.
Tell us about this construction management degree that you pursued, and how has that helped you, and maybe give us some takeaways from that.
Well, now I know in these construction development meetings, I know what everyone's talking about, right? And they can't BS me about statuses and costs and timelines. I know exactly what they're talking about. That's been and also I'm able to push it, right? When Public Works falls behind on in a certain area during the development of a project, I'm able to assist on my end and help them push it forward.
Yeah. Now, how important is that for the municipality to assist in pushing projects versus third parties having to lift all the red tape or the municipal side load? Do you find you can really help push a project along?
Yeah, absolutely. It's caring, right? A contractor is not really going to care as much as the people that actually live and work here, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's been the biggest positive of this.
Yeah, and then you're stuck with the end product for this playground that typically they're made to last. What's the warranty on these, the usable warranty and the maintenance on these?
For this particular product, it was 12 years, I believe.
Yeah, 12 years, and then there's just kind of maintenance and upkeep on this thing?
Yeah, so something incredible that has happened. So we have two local community groups that care so much about that project that they come out twice a week. One group comes out one day and the other group comes on another day, and they clean the area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
fantastic.
you're talking about anywhere from 10 to 20 people on any one day.
Yeah.
So they're out there, and when people see that, you establish a new culture, right? That I can't just leave my soda on the table there, right? People are watching you, and the culture changes, and I see it changing now. That's been a very pleasant surprise, because we were already planning. We had made plans on our end to increase the maintenance presence in that part of the park, because we knew we were going to get extra activity. But this has been a pleasant surprise that the community is rounding up, and they're starting to take care of it at a certain level on their side.
Now, was this formerly a smaller playground, or was this just like a grass field?
Yeah, it was a very, very small playground, probably I would say maybe a fifth of the size of the current playground. And we made it a space theme because the original playground that was there and at that site opened in 1963, and it was space themed. Linwood in our area had a lot of manufacturing facilities that contributed to the space race, and we wanted to maintain that tribute to Linwood's history.
Yeah, and most people don't realize that part of the country is huge into the aerospace industry and the space race, that kind of
Yes.
stuff. It still is to this day.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go. Oh wait, what was the increased foot traffic then versus now?
Oh wow, it's been pretty significant. We're talking about maybe 500 visitors a day. It's right next to a middle school. Our park shares its facilities as athletic facilities with the middle school that is on the opposite side of the park. So we'll get, there are 2,000 students coming through the park every day, not only at PE class, but hanging out after school. And now we see more of those middle schoolers staying in the park because of that playground.
Yeah.
And that's several hundred students.
Yeah. Okay, so next thing I want to shift to is, and this speaks a lot to the industry, what this industry makes of you as a man, as a leader. It kind of demands that you become more than you are than when you start. And you can see how it's pushed you to gain degrees, to work outside of your comfort zone. And so you endured something that was super challenging during COVID. And maybe let's talk about what was the place like before, then how you lost 90% of your staff, and who you had to become as a leader, as a man, to help, bring your agency through this tough time.
Yeah, pre-COVID, we averaged 140, 150 staff members at any one time, majority being part-timers. But once COVID hit, the rumors started circulating within 2 or 3 weeks about budget cuts, and staff. Yeah, I'm talking about staff that Linwood is a medium, like I mentioned before, a medium-sized city. Everyone knows each other, right? Many of my staff have been in my home for celebrations, and we go out and celebrate each other, and I know their families. A lot of them, a lot of our team grew up in our programs, just like I did, right? And so I've known them since they were 6, 7 years old, and now they're in their 20s and working for us. And some of them even have their own children now that are in their program. So it's very close relationships that we have. But once COVID hit, a couple of months in, the rumors started circulating within the city hall hallways about budget cuts, and staff would approach me. Hey, is this true? Is that true? Is this true? So I really went out of my way to keep my finger on the pulse of what is actually happening, so I can report back and essentially just keep it real with everybody. This is what I know, and sometimes I didn't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but at the end of the day, people appreciated the honesty, the frequency of the updates, so that they can make plans on their end. Right. But unfortunately, we were not able to avoid 90% reduction layoffs in our staff. Wow. So overnight, we went down to 9 people, including myself.
Oh my goodness.
And so I had to meet with the individual staff members and let them know they didn't have a job anymore. And you're talking about people that I have personal relationships with, that I know have families and mortgages and car payments, and it was very, very, very difficult time for the team, and also mentally draining for myself. So we're slowly recovering. We're up to about 70% staffing levels of pre-COVID numbers. However, our programming is quickly approaching 100% our pre-COVID level. So we're still having that battle, right, of that balancing. There's still some gaps in services that we need to fill, and we're getting public pressure to return some programming opportunities that we just have not had the resources to offer, but we're working it out. It's slowly improving, and I'm very positive about the future for us.
Now, who did you have to become as a leader to endure all this, or kind of where were you lacking? And then now what's the strength left behind look like in you?
Yeah, what I was lacking was the day-to-day connections with staff members, especially the entry-level staff members. Because of the level of my responsibilities before COVID, I just didn't have the time that I would have hoped to have to continue those one-on-one communications or small group communications with down to our entry-level staff. And that kind of was reduced over time, but COVID forced me to come back and do that and have these one-on-one conversations, especially during this tough time. And I got to tell you, it sucked personally.
Hmm.
It was tough. It was really tough, mentally draining. I had to be very, very conscious of physical and mental impacts to myself, and I really had to go out of my way to take care of myself, uh, mentally and physically. So at the end of the day, I think I became a better leader through the those conversations and being honest with people, especially with the bad news. Right? Nobody wants to do that. That is not enjoyable at all, at the slightest.
Hmm.
And so I kind of had to suck it up and face it head on. And I think it's made me a much better leader.
Now who was left of the 9 people? Was it mainly the grass cutters and you, or
No,
who?
it was it was 3 managers and the rest were full time. It was all full timers.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was 8 full timers plus myself. And
Mm,
so essentially, I stepped down from being director during that time, right?
mm,
Because we pivoted from administrative stuff to very basic delivery of programs where my administrative skills were not critical to our
mm,
mission at that point in time. And so we shifted to delivering services like meals programs, drive through pickup of food boxes,
mm.
where my role as a director was not critical to that mission, and I
I see.
became more hands on. Right, I was very clear with my staff. You tell me what to do. Right, I was out there handing meals every day in a drive-through fashion, and I was setting up tables and canopies and wearing the plastic gloves and delivering the food. And I was very straightforward with my staff. I am not the director. I work for you. You tell me what to do.
Wow. Well, I can't seem to find another industry that, provides so many leadership, opportunities to
Yeah,
step up to the plate, to do something you're uncomfortable with.
yeah.
This industry really makes a great person out of the people that choose this as a career path. And we can kind of close with that. Is there anything let's say we're pitching the industry. Let's say you've got a group of high school juniors that are undecided as to where they
Mm.
want to go dedicate their life to. Why would they want to dedicate their life to Parks and Recreation?
Well, I would tell them to expose themselves to the industry, because at the end of the day, if they don't want to remain in this industry, they're going to pick up skills that they can apply to any career that they have.
Mhm.
And namely the people skills. Right. No matter if you're, if you start your own shoe store, or you're corporate, or you're in a trade, you need people skills, and that's what you learn working in the recreation field. So I would highly encourage any person to come and spend a summer, at least one summer with us, and you'll see a transformation, and you'll fall in love.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's something to be said about I don't know of a city or an agency that does not have enough money, doesn't have enough manpower. There's so many ideas coming
Yeah,
from the community, coming from the elected officials.
yeah.
You're always strained, but that forces you to learn to do more with less, and to
Mhm,
ask your entire staff constantly to step up. But
mhm.
that's a great environment to be in as a human, if you want to develop yourself into a great leader.
But key to that is having their backs, right? So that they don't
Right.
feel that if they make a mistake, the world's going to come crashing down on them, right? They need
Mm,
to feel supported, and not only feel, but actually be supported that they make a mistake, because we do make mistakes, right?
mm,
And they have to feel safe that we're not going to come crashing down on them to make a mistake that's reasonable and can be addressed, right? So yeah, that's also part of that
Yeah.
environment.
And I know and we didn't get to touch on this. I wanted to, but maybe we can touch on it here at the end,
Mhm.
about professional and development and how important that is to you and how you use it in your
Yeah.
agency.
Yeah, huge on training. Our team, at least twice a week, we're sending a crew out to get trained on something, right? As a matter of fact, tomorrow, my management team is going out to emergency shelter operations, training with the Red Cross. But we're huge on training and training across different skill sets, right? From customer service to emergency shelter operations to summer program development to first aid and CPR, because we need to be the utility player for our city, right? We need to be able to respond to whatever the city needs.
Fantastic. Well, Mark, thank you for coming on the show. Any closing remarks for our audience about Linwood, California, or Parks and Rec in
Yeah.
general?
Yeah, on both. Actually, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't even believe it's been an hour already.
I know.
I,
Just flew by.
Yeah, yeah. Come, everyone's welcome here in Lynwood, California. Amazing things are happening here, and also recreation. It's just fascinating hearing the stories from your other guests about similar experiences, about the sharing of ideas, and everyone's not holding, their idea close to the chest and not letting others be exposed to it or how they deliver that. Recreation is very unique from that standpoint. And I love our industry, and I look forward to all of our futures.
Yeah, well, it has been a pleasure serving y'all. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on the show and sharing your story. I feel like you've got a wealth of knowledge outside of Parks and Rec that you've brought into Parks and Rec. So I'm so glad that you've come on the show to let people know, what you can do as a director to support your agency. So I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for all the work that you do for the Parks and Rec industry.
My pleasure.
Yep. Take care. Thank you, Mark. All right. So that was Mark Flores over in Lynwood, California, one of the great cities right outside one of the greatest cities of America, LA. 75,000 people, $10 million playground, got to be one of the best in the country. And I just love how Mark sees a need. Great example. He saw a need of needing a construction management mind to better represent his Parks and Rec department, and he just went and got it. That is so much of the culture of Parks and Recreation, that these leaders kind of bend themselves to the need, mold themselves to the need of their community. If they're not good enough in an area, if they find that they're weak in an area, or partnering with a nonprofit, partnering with a private company, or going get their staff trained up in an area where they're weak, and it's nonstop. They're always training. I love how he said somebody on his staff is going to get professional development a couple times a week. And so if you're looking to just become a great individual under nonstop training, coaching, stepping up, man, this is the industry for you. It is definitely not a, boring industry that's just the same old, same old. There is always something different. I have mad respect for this industry and these people, what they're able to do with the resources they're given, and how they're always stepping up over and over, time and time again, year after year. Not just, a lot of times we think when we go into an industry, all the training's been done right before the job interview. And then at that point, we're just going to kind of do the same old thing for the next 20, 30 years. Well, in Parks and Rec, the training only begins when you start. And what you'll be asked to do, who knows? There's so many things that these communities need, and they're not tiny portfolios. This is many times, almost every time, at least $100 million real estate portfolio on up to $1 billion real estate portfolio for not huge cities. If you just go put a price tag on the normal Parks and Rec system, they're managing quite a massive real estate portfolio with 5, 10, 20, $30 million operating budget, and they're improving these facilities at a tune of well, Mark, was 15 million a year on capex. So you're managing the construction, you're improving, you're developing a new piece of property, and this is what you're doing. This is what he's doing with 140 full-time employees, like an orchestra, and ahead of his pupils, just managing the chaos. So love what you're doing, Mark. Keep it up. You're doing a fantastic job. Hopefully one day I'll make it out to California. I'll be able to swing by and see this amazing playground that you built. Okay, so we need help supporting the channel. If this LED light right here is something that you need, so let me explain a little bit about where we fit in the Parks and Rec community as far as this one thing that we use to fund this channel. For those who don't know, this little kid right here, that's Flo. She's the guardian of the LED light. She's some creepy little doll that has found her way into my life and has been moving with me all over the world. So anyway, if you have a baseball field that's more of a country field, that's more of your maintenance crews are just changing out bulbs and balances, and they're just keeping it going. They really don't have the budget to do a total LED upgrade. This was the niche that I saw needed addressing. That a lot of times people don't have the money to go with a big fancy system like some of these big lighting contractors, where they'll take the whole thing down, put new poles, new controls, new systems. They just want to stop this never-ending maintenance chaos of changing bulbs and balances, or just put a bulb up there. And they can't go to LED lights because it's just super expensive. You got to change them all out at once. I saw this problem as an electrical engineer, and I just wanted to make a bulletproof light. I take this back. It is not bulletproof. Our lights have been shot at. Thank you, New Orleans. This is something you send your maintenance guys up with. You say, take that old fixture down, put this one up. It can sit right on side of your old fixtures if they're still working. And over a few seasons, you can have literally a world-class 100,000 hour mean wheel drivers, Cree chips. This sucker never quits. It is literally a powerhouse light. We have patented technology on the cooling of this light. That's why this thing lasts forever. It took me a long time to develop this fixture, and we only sell it to municipal governments. It's our only customer. And so I semi-retired from that, got into podcasting in the Bitcoin community, and of course, having such a blast there. It just really inspired me to create a media company for Parks and Recreation. And when I was thinking of ways that I could fund this, this is something that I know Parks and Rec has used, and we have shipped tens of thousands of these lights to Parks and Rec departments that they just, buy 5 of them, put 5 on a field. They'll buy 1 of them. They'll buy 40 of them. But you can essentially relamp an entire baseball field. Not even relamp. This is a whole fixture. So you get all new LED fixtures for like $30,000. So compare that to the price tag of what you're getting, and you're not compromising on quality. And if you want to control it with a cell phone app, we partner with a great company called Outdoor Link. That a super simple app. Grandma could use this app. It's so simple. And you can now turn on your lights off and on from a bed, from a beach, from across the planet, in any park that you're hooked up to. So between pairing with us with Outdoor Link and our lights, you will never have to maintain these facilities again. It is so rare that one of our lights give trouble at all, that if they ever give you trouble, just call us and we'll ship you a brand new and no questions asked if you're a city that just does business with us. And knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone, you get to help us build this media company for Parks and Recreation, which is truly my mission that I've embraced. I love telling the story of men like Mark Flores, of communities like Linwood, California. And this is an amazing story to tell. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a great channel. It's going to be a great channel from America and for America. And I'm having a blast building it. So thank you, Mark, for coming on to the show. We have our other guest coming on tomorrow, which is, I actually did have it pulled up this last time, but then I X'd it out right at the finish line because I was trying to pull up my LinkedIn account. Well, while I'm waiting for this to pull up, Liddy Gutfeld. Y'all are gonna love her. She is a little firecracker, also in California. Great story, passionate about aquatics. But another great story, just like Mark was. Y'all are really gonna enjoy that. And my last request before I sign off. If you are in park maintenance or you know somebody in park maintenance that is doing a masterful job, let's say they have a degree in forestry or they are amazing at park field maintenance or maintaining lawn equipment, you know who I'm talking about. Some of these men and women have spent 20 years mastering some specific part of park maintenance, and we want to give them a platform to share their decades of wisdom with, in general, the park maintenance community. Because if I've gotten one request above all from Parks and Rec directors and assistant directors and leaders in this community about what kind of content we should make, overwhelmingly, it's about please make some content for the maintenance side of Parks and Recreation. It is easily half of our workforce and our efforts is just to maintain this huge real estate portfolio of things that are constantly breaking, and how we fix them, how we maintain them, is many different trades and crafts coming together to maintain these facilities. So whether you're a master electrician or a plumber or a carpenter or somebody that maintains the aquatic facilities or the playground equipment, or, oh my gosh, maintaining grass, this is just a war with Mother Nature. The chemicals you have to spray, the equipment that's constantly breaking, all the new equipment with robotics coming in. We're having conversations on that as well. Striping the fields. Y'all know what it takes to maintain these facilities. Let's get some of our best and brightest out there. Directors, I'm depending on y'all to send these guys our way. And we're going to do a 1-hour show from 11 to 12 here shortly. In a couple of weeks, we'll launch that. And then at the noon time Eastern, we'll roll right into what y'all just saw with Mark, highlighting the careers of leaders in Parks and Rec, and really giving a platform for the industry to speak. So please help send those maintenance people our way so we can create a show just for them. And I will be here tomorrow, 12 noon, our last show of the week, and then we'll kick it off again on Monday. Tomorrow also, I am going to Pensacola, Florida to go visit a friend, but I'm also getting a tour of the entire Parks and Rec facility while I'm there. I'm going to try to get some good footage, and hopefully when I interview them, we'll have some good stuff to show y'all. I'm going to be taking the footage on my iPhone because I haven't bought a good camera yet, but I've got to start somewhere. So, all right. Love you guys. Been a great week so far. I will see y'all here again tomorrow. Craig LeBlanc, the Doorman, signing off with the daily Parks and Rec show, 12 noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. Y'all have an awesome day. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.
When you invest in our high-performance LED sports arena lights, you're not just upgrading your facilities, you're helping us illuminate the untold stories of Parks and Recreation communities. Every purchase directly supports the Daily Parks and Rec Show, a media platform on a mission to celebrate the heart and soul of our local parks and programs. From after-school activities to summer leagues, these spaces shape lives, and their stories deserve to be told. Why your support matters. Capturing community impact. Your contribution helps us assemble a talented team of digital artists, storytellers, and filmmakers to create compelling videos, articles, and short films that spotlight how Parks and Rec programs change lives. Sharing untold stories. From a child's first home run to lifelong friendships forged on the court, we'll document these priceless moments and share them with the world. Inspiring the next generation. By highlighting the joy, inclusivity, and opportunities found in our parks, we foster a deeper appreciation for these vital community spaces. Light up arenas, brighten futures. Your choice to install LED sports arena lights isn't just a smart investment in energy efficiency and performance, it's an investment in stories that deserve to be told. Be part of the story. Take action today. Purchase LED sports arena lights and help us shine a spotlight on the heartwarming stories that define our parks and communities. Contact us now to learn more about our products and how your support fuels the Daily Parks and Rec show. Together, we'll shine a light on the moments that matter most.